So Donald Trump and the Republicans are panicking that they're going to lose control. That's the subject of today's video. And check this out. It says, Trump pulls Elise Stephaning's cabinet nomination. Republicans fear they can't lose her vote in the House as they press to pass tax cuts with their slim majority. Again, they're worried about losing control. We'll read some details of this. It says the White House has pulled the nomination of Representative Elise Stefanik, Republican from New York, as ambassador to the United Nations, as Republicans worry about passing tax cuts through the House with their slim majority. Basically, their policies are unpopular. They're terrible. Americans don't like it. And on top of that, it feels like the Trump people are actively out to basically hurt regular Americans. They want to fire you and replace you with AI and robots, etc. That's their plan. This is a quote from Trump. He tweeted out, with a very tight majority, I don't want to take a chance on anyone else running for Elise's seat. Basically, again, they're worried that they'll lose. Also says the people love Elise, and with her, we have nothing to worry about come election day. Well, really? Well, then why are you pulling her seat, right? So, or pulling her nomination again? I think they have such a slim majority and they're pissing off so many people. They're panicking right there. You can see this, like that was their nomination and now they're pulling it. What kind of policies they're doing? Why would it be pissing people off? So this is their priority. It's now a hate crime to vandalize Teslas in DC. It's so ridiculous, right? So out of all the issues that you're going to focus on, you're going to really focus on, protect Elon, protect his wealth, right? Protect anyone who vandalizes Teslas. That's like your most important issue. Now it's a hate crime, I guess. The reason why you would do these kind of things is then you can throw your federal agents onto said stuff. On top of that, will they change the laws to where these kind of lawsuits will be effective? For example, this has just come out on March 26th. Man whose Tesla was keyed at a DFW airport files $1 million lawsuit after suspect arrested. I guess Teslas are now worth $1 million. Is that what we're saying? And on top of that, you got to see this. This is Pam Bondi talking about the recent Signalgate count.
Type of question. In terms of the Signals chat controversy that's going on, is DOJ involved at this point? If so, why? If not, why not?
Well, first, it was sensitive information, not classified, and inadvertently released. And
okay, so she's going to make the case that it was sensitive information, not classified. And again, we're talking about texting out war plans. They're just saying, well, it was sensitive, but not classified. That's their defense plan. And then now you're going to see her talk about Hillary and Biden, and then she'll run away. Watch
what
this.
We should be talking about is it was a very successful mission. Our world is now safer because of that mission. We're not going to comment any further on that. If you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach bit. Talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information, and we are very pleased with the results of that operation and that the entire world is safer because of it. Thank you all very much. Thank you for coming here and reporting.
So that's the Republican response to this stuff. Biden. Oh, Hillary emails. Okay, run away. Turn my back on the people. You just watched it right yourself. Okay, thank you. That's all the time we have. This is sort of why they're unpopular, right? This is why that they're likely going to lose, and this is why they're panicking, right? So they got such a slim majority, and come midterms, when people are hearing of themselves or their neighbors or family that are losing their jobs, they're going to see prices of things go up due to Trump's tariffs. They're going to get sick of Elon Musk, an unelected official, however you want to call this guy, taking control. This is what it's at. And already we've had multiple scandals. I mean, just think about we've only been a couple months into this Trump-Musk administration, and we've already have multiple scandals going on. You can see here, this was the headline you just saw. Attorney General Pam Bondi avoids questions about investigating the Signal chat. Or you also have this. Bondi suggests no Signal inquiry as senators request a probe. And this would be actually bipartisan because people want to know what's going on with this. On top of that, I told you guys before, their priority is to fire people. RFK Jr. plans 10,000 job cuts and major restructuring of health department. That's their strategy. Let's just fire as many of regular Americans as we possibly can because we hate workers. Who needs workers, right? This is what it says. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he would significantly cut the size of the department he leads, reshaping the nation's health agencies and closing regional offices. Kennedy said the agency would axe 10,000 full-time employees spread across agencies tasked with responding to, this is what they do, disease outbreaks. So I guess we're not worried about that anymore. Just fire them, right? Approving new drugs. So who needs any sort of drugs? Just fire all those people. Providing insurance for the poorest Americans. Oh, well, I mean, poor Americans. Like, why would we want to help them? Let's fire those people, right? The cuts are in addition to roughly 10,000 employees who chose to leave because they did the whole Elon Musk fork in the road stuff. So that's 20,000 people that are out of the department. And I want to just point this out, guys. The American population has been increasing, right? Just what the population does. And this is sort of why you would hire more people, because the arguments that they'll make is like, wow, look how big the government has gotten, etc. But I just want you to understand, because our population has gotten bigger. And now we're firing people in health and human services when we literally right now have a measles problem in USA, which is crazy. And I'm sure there's going to be more things coming down the pipeline, the more people that you fire. On top of that, guys, I want to give you an update on the Tufts University student situation. If you didn't see my last video, you can check it out. We have footage. Basically, it's Trump agents. They arrest people. They don't tell you what the charges are. They wear masks when they do it. It is very disturbing. And I had to dig to figure out, okay, so why are we arresting the said person? They also want to basically throw people on planes and move them out of, the area. Because in this situation, it was in Massachusetts, and they put her in Louisiana as quickly as possible against the judge's orders. I mean, it says here, detained Tufts student moved to Louisiana despite judge's order. And someone's asked me about this because I mentioned it before in the last video, and I'll just show you if you want to read the op-ed piece of, and I guess this is the claim that they're making. She was one of 4 students to write an op-ed piece. And the people who haven't read this thing, they'll just say, oh, well, she just supports terrorists and stuff like that. I mean, I do not see any mention of Hamas or terrorists at all in this piece. If I'm wrong, please let me know. You can read the whole thing for yourself. I have it right here. I'll just tell you what I read. The basic gist of it was the argument that the students are making is we pay tuition. We're also graduate students, and we work for the university, and we bring in research dollars to the university. So basically, we have a stake in this, and therefore, because our work and our money is part of the universities, we don't want the university to invest in Israel. That's just the argument that they make. That's and I guess in Trump America, that's illegal. I guess they also make the argument, which is actually relevant. Is the university has a past of doing these kind of things before. And this would be in 1989, talking about divesting from South Africa, right? Because of apartheid. So basically they're saying in Tufts University, you divested from South Africa in the past, and we'd like you just to divest from Israel. And the basic gist of it is because, the actions that Israel are taking against Gaza. So that's the opinion that they take, and in Trump America, I guess they can arrest you for having said opinion. On top of that, they and this is something that I find it very important to talk about with you guys, is just be educated, right? Learn from history, learn from the past, read. They cite James Baldwin here. I'll read. This is from the student op-ed piece. It says the great author and civil rights champion James Baldwin once wrote, quote, "The paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which they are being educated." And there's 4 students on here, and I think this is what we're talking about, right? They're arresting students for having opinions. There's another student now. I see this here. This is at Alabama, a university in Alabama. And they're arresting an Iranian doctoral student, so a PhD student. Rubio was saying there's at least 300 visas have been pulled. So what they're doing, I guess, is what it looks like, is they're forming lists of students, faculty, whatever, that have a political view that they don't like. So, and I want to say this really clearly, guys. Whenever I had to talk about these kind of issues, I think a person can say, "Hey, I don't condone any killing by any party or any side." I've said that several times on this channel. I don't condone any killing by Hamas. I don't approve of any terrorists. I don't support any of that. But it doesn't necessarily mean I want to go in and bomb civilians in Gaza. I make that really clear. I don't want Israelis to get killed. I don't want people in Gaza to be killed. If you want to talk about Ukraine, I don't want regular Russian soldiers to be killed. I don't want regular Ukrainian soldiers to be killed. If I say anything crazy, you can let me know. And so, for me, I think that's a pretty reasonable stance to take. I understand that some people prefer not to listen to any sort of reasonable stances or even read at all. But this goes back to, the more educated you become, the more you start to question sort of society and you learn how things work. So for example, I question what Rubio's talking about here, where they're just pulling 300 visas already. And the way that they're doing, again, they're going against judges' orders. They're doing it as quickly as possible. And it's very disturbing. And this essentially, I think, as you say, fire people without a good cause. And that was actually one of the judges' ruling of like, the way you guys are mass firing people, there's no way you could say that you're doing it based on someone's work performance, right? And it's the same way that you could kind of say the way that you're, pulling people's visas and deporting them, you're not necessarily doing it based on their actions, right? Like they're doing these things without due process. I want to mention this movie. I know I mentioned a lot on the channel, but it just becomes really kind of similar to what we've seen in history before. This is a movie called 1987. It's based on, again, history of what happened in Korea back then and had to do with the arrest of students. So you'll see it's very much a parallel to what we're seeing today. The Trump policies are essentially, we're going to do tariffs, which is basically tax on you, just regular people. You're going to pay higher prices. So, for example, this is the headline today: cars under 30,000 risk becoming a casualty of Trump's tariffs. So basically, price of cars will go up. And then you also have the markets are seeing what's going on, and the markets are telling you that Trump's no good. So you have multiple things going on. They want to fire you. They want to replace you with AI. They want to put tariffs on you, basically tax you. They want to take that tax money, funnel it to their stupid crypto projects, their AI projects, funnel it to Musk companies. They want to make it so that, vandalizing Tesla is now a hate crime. And that's their priorities. And then whenever you question, they'll just say Biden, 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 and Hillary emails, right? And then run away. So I want to hear your thoughts on this stuff, and I'll catch you on the next video.